I was able to help them with administrative issues at the shelter, and that's where my expertise came in.
Well, let's talk about the Humane Society of Harford County now. When you first went there, what was their nature? Were they a small SPCA or Humane Society that took in only the most adoptable animals, or?
No, Humane Society of Harford County was an open admission shelter. We worked with the county animal control, which was county-run.
So you took some of their animals?
We took all of their animals.
You had to take all of their animals?
Any animals that they trapped, brought in as strays, or that came in from the public, we took in. We were the shelter for that county.
Okay. And how many animals would that be in a year?
Approximately 5,000 a year.
About 5,000. Now that's fewer than, that's about 1/3 of what Prince George's County takes in, but the population of Harford County?
Our population was about 250,000 people.
Okay, so that's in the range of about half. Actually, then that's a higher population ratio than Prince George's County, slightly. Okay. What was happening at the Humane Society when you first went there? What was it like? Their facility and their operations and so forth?
Well, when the new management took over, which was about 3 months before I got there, they had to work to make some significant changes. They basically started with a blank slate. They had, from the prior administration, they really had no procedures, no protocols in place. So they started from the ground up.
But did you have a specific building that was a shelter?
Yes.
It was built as a shelter?
Yes, there are some buildings on the 25-acre campus. They are not, well, they were turned into shelters. They weren't built as shelters. The dog kennel is built around a farmhouse. There were 24 permanent kennel runs that were built on over the course of about 60 to 100 years. I mean, that house, that farmhouse was about 100 years old.
Oh.
So we were...
Not your most modern facility.
Not at all.
Did it have inside water?
It did.
Okay, good.
The electricity wasn't even powerful. We didn't even have enough electricity coming in so that we could air condition the place. So we had to work with lots of limitations.
Had to make adjustments.
Sort of what
Yes.
I think might be characterized as a shoestring or something.
Everything
like
was on a shoestring budget, yes.
Well, how was the operation of the organization then? How successful were they in their mission, their adoption rates versus kill rates and so forth?
Well, we had a save rate, which is you take the total coming in and the total going out alive. Our save rate was about 86%.
When you started?
No.
Before you started?
When I left.
Before you started?
Oh, before we started, it was abysmal. It might have been in the 40 percentile, I'm not sure. But it was very low. We had to start everything from scratch. We basically, we changed the philosophy, then we changed our practices, and then we changed the minds in the community. It was it was a slow process, but once we realized that the possibility existed that we could do it, the changes were implemented fairly quickly.
So you changed some attitudes on the part of the public? What were the attitudes to begin with?
Well, I think that shelter was thought of as a place where animals went to die. It was not highly thought of. We had to, there were some obstacles to overcome in the community. And because people don't think it's, you know, a good place to go, people tend to not want to go there even to adopt. So there were many challenges as far as public perception.
Okay. What caused you to think that there was a better way, that this is not just the way things had to be because of the law of the universe, but that you could do something else? What was it that caused that to happen?
We attended a number of seminars, and we heard firsthand from people who had been successful in other places places like Tompkins County, New York, even in San Francisco. People were doing it, and they were adopting out animals, and they were finding homes for animals, and through some innovative ways that you didn't see too much of in shelters normally. And what's wrong with trying something different? If what you're doing is causing the loss of life to so many hundreds or thousands of animals, why not try a different way?
And these were normal people? They all had 2 eyes and nobody had a magic wand or anything like that?
No magic wand.
Well, that's very interesting.
And not all of them great, huge facilities that were oak and glass.
Variety of facilities. Some were great and some were not so great. It's not really the facility that matters. It's the philosophy.
Okay. So you decided that you wanted to do better in Harford County, but what was your objective when you started making changes? What were you trying to accomplish?
Well, our goal was to save as many lives as we could. That was basically it in a nutshell.
So you changed policies or procedures or attitudes or whatever based on whether or not that would help you to save lives?
The first and most important thing we did is we brought in a new philosophy. I feel that the leadership of any organization is going to drive that organization. And if you change the philosophy to a philosophy of life, if you're always heading in that direction, you're far better off than if you always look at the stumbling blocks in the way as saying, oh, it can't be done.
What do you use, though, to signal that you're changing direction, would you say?
Well, we changed, first we had to change hearts and minds within the shelter. We had to, let our staff know that it was okay to try and, find animals.
I'm sure
more
they all
homes.
jumped right on board, right?
No, no, but we also shared with them those life-saving philosophies. We also, we took a number of our employees to some conferences, and they started to, internalize that and slowly realize that maybe they could do it. And it feels better to do that. Not all staff members went along with that, but those people can find another job.
And of the things that you did, what would you say was the most important thing along the lines of effectiveness to accomplish your goal?
I would say the most important thing is starting out with a leadership with the right philosophy.
So we seem to be coming back to the right philosophy, the right philosophy, the right philosophy, which tends to be a very significant contributing factor towards the success.
Yeah, it wasn't that we had a lot of money. We did it on a shoestring. The shelter ran on a shoestring anyway, so we just figured, we would point our energies in a more life-saving direction and see where it went.
So did you inform the community about what you were doing in some way?
Yes.
What effect did that have? How did you do it, and what effect did that have?
It had a great effect. We did it slowly. Again, what we wanted to do was make sure that we were moving in the right direction. And then slowly, as our successes became known to us, when we started seeing our numbers improve, then we started letting the public know that more animals are being adopted, animals that might have a treatable illness were being treated, and we started treating the shelter as a community center for animals, and that allowed us to encourage the public to come in, that there were good things happening at the shelter, and when people come into the shelter, they also start adopting.